Never underestimate the amount of test work that you put in before you're filming. There is nothing worse than filming a podcast or a piece of content and then going to edit it and realizing the mic level wasn't right, it wasn't plugged in, there was a bad connection, the battery wasn't charged, you forgot to put the SIM card in. Like, you're gonna make mistakes, and the sooner you make these mistakes, the quicker you'll grow. Which leads me into what I wanted to talk about today. I made a claim recently about, making sure you charge enough. That way there's enough money for the entrepreneur and, of course, the most important thing, the business to grow. And that's easier said than done. I feel a lot of people that would make a comment like that are armchair quarterbacks, meaning they run the business off a spreadsheet. And that might seem like what I'm doing. However, that's the furthest from the truth. I'm an owner-operator. I'm on the sales floor and behind the windshield every day. I produce content every day to seek new opportunities because it's my job as a leader to keep raising the ceiling on this business so everybody that's within this company can continue to grow as well. And so I have an obligation to do that. What I'm hearing and seeing a lot through a lot of these forums, and it's not just in shower doors, it's in electrical, plumbing, lighting, you name it. The market kind of sets a baseline for what is the perceived value of the goods and services that you provide. And I've talked to a few shower door guys in the past. They're like, oh my God, we could never get prices like that up where I'm at. They'd throw us out of the house. They throw me right out of the fucking house. I said the same thing down here. Again, there's 20 other glass companies down here that had been setting the market well before we started. And we had to change that. And one of the biggest differences is we added a lot more value, but after about a decade of doing this, we learned how to articulate that value in a way that was digestible, that would lead to the sale and ultimately lead to the growth of our business. Too many businesses start off with an amazing entrepreneur, very skilled craftsman, typically, that doesn't have a ton of business acumen. That would be me. And so you'll work your ass off. And then you'll get to a point where you say, if I work this hard for the rest of my life, I'm still not going to achieve a quarter of what I want to. To get to that next level, I have to be willing to do something different. If you're in a position like that, I would tell you the number one thing is you got to raise your prices. And everybody's number one fear, because fear is the overriding factor in all of our decision making, fear is going to hold us back from raising the prices because we're afraid we're going to lose that builder. We're going to lose that contractor who's been giving us work forever. We're going to lose that designer. There's no way we're going to get that. And this leads me into the first of many old sayings that I'm going to regurgitate here. There's an old saying that says, seek first to understand in order to be understood. And if somebody's hell-bent on a certain price point, a certain line item within your proposal, and you know it's for the betterment of the relationship and collaboration, and you truly believe that, the only way that individual is going to come off that position is if they feel heard. Let's go back to the saying, seek first to understand in order to be understood. If you can hear what their real pain point is, and you are able to demonstrate that you're able to hear that, you kind of have this almost chemical connection between each other. And at that point, they're willing to let their guard down and come off their position, because now what a person wants to be more than right is to be heard. And once they realize that you understand how they got to that position, then and only then would they be willing to come off of it. So, sales is a real context-driven thing. There's no such thing as a script. You have to be an amazing listener. It's taken me a decade and a half to realize that. But that's your job as the sales professional, to listen to what the pain point is. Too many people ask me all the time, tell us your pitch. Tell me the pitch that you give. I says, listen, if you're pitching, you're losing. I need to listen to here's another old saying. A person's biggest problem is their biggest problem. And so when someone walks in our showroom or calls on the phone, it's my job, your job, to listen to what that potential problem is. Because they're not just calling to, I want to talk to the guy with the nice hair. I want to talk to the guy on social media. No, they're calling because they have an opportunity or a problem on their end that they want us to help solve. And they believe on the face that we can do that. It's our job to tease out, if they're even a legitimate opportunity and they're not just fetching more information, that's a separate conversation we can have, or they're part of the 80% that have good intentions and do have a situation where they need goods and services. But before this can go any further, we need to build rapport, which will equal trust eventually, and only then will we be able to exchange money for goods and services, period. And the best way to do that is to listen. A really good salesperson is only talking about 30% of the time. Now, I know I do a lot of talking, and I claim to be a very good collaborator, but in the heat of the moment, in the conversation, I'm not doing much of the talking. I'm not name dropping. I'm not bragging about things that we've done, because those are thought disruptors. That changes the dynamic of the conversation. If you're having to name drop stuff that you did, it's insecurity. If I can listen to what the customer is actually after, and I can demonstrate that I'm listening again, that's another conversation. How do you demonstrate it? But if I can listen and I can show them that I'm listening and I can make that bond with them, my resume, my previous job experience, the jobs that we did, how much money we make a year is 1,000% irrelevant. Completely irrelevant. Matter of fact, there's a lot of deals that I do with people. They don't know me. They've never met me. They don't know a fucking thing about me. And they feel very comfortable in doing business. And I reassure them of that. And again, when you say what you do and you do what you say, that's also part of it. If you're going to say something, you better fucking do it. Just like if you're going to put a line in the sand, whether it's price, timeline, and you cross that line, it's over. If you're gonna say something, you gotta mean it. By the way, if you like what you're hearing today, please subscribe, hit that alert button. There'll be more small business advice, kind of lessons that I've learned in the past, we've learned in the past, coming up. But I'm here to tell you that most of these businesses that are, I don't know what a definition of a stage 1 business is, but maybe no more than 10, 12 employees, and you're struggling like shit, I'm starting to lose employees, culture's down a little bit, I personally want to get more money, the business, needs to reinvest in the showroom, I need to buy more vehicles, but there's not the cash there. That'll usually happen year 4 and 5. That's why most businesses will not make it past year 5, because you start hitting that second or third cycle of the cash flow, and you have employees that need raises, benefits, infrastructure needs reinvestment, and the money's just not there. And I'm here to tell you, you're not getting enough money on the front end. And it's just easy to say the customer will throw me out of the house. I don't need to do that. I'm fine. I'm here to tell you it's a short bag. You're saying all that because it's difficult to have that conversation because you're afraid that they're going to say, oh my God, I'll never pay that. I've even had people say, Keith, I don't know how you sleep at night by asking for that kind of money. And my response would be, I don't know how you sleep at night knowing that you're not doing the best you possibly can for your employees and what they're thinking about you while they're trying to sleep, knowing their boss is not raising the ceiling so they can all, have a career there. And to do that, you have to be constantly innovating and growing the business. So I'm here to tell you, you got to raise the prices. And there is a way to do it. And you'll eventually learn that the hard way, like the rest of us too, when it starts costing you money. I wanted to follow up with a little bit more context because a lot of times a text message can be read in a negative light or seem insensitive. And I know it's difficult. I mean, we dragged our dick in the dirt for a while, like more than 10 years. And then, eventually you're forced to make decisions because it's not sustainable to keep going the way it is. So if you have any more questions or you like what you hear, don't forget to subscribe. And if you want to have a conversation off the podcast directly regarding how we might be of assistance with either building out your social media or helping acquire the skill set to deliver a higher price, we're open to that conversation as well. And if you like what you hear today, don't forget to smash that alert button after you subscribe on our YouTube channel. Glass guys.